Hi. So I woke up with a lot on my mind. A few weeks ago, I was listening to Elite Rose Tarot on YouTube, and I love her, by the way. Thank you for your content. And she was asking a question: is if your subconscious thoughts became law, would you want to live in the kingdom that it creates? And I started to go back and think about the the things that I have been writing down. I would say 5 years ago, and before that, the I'm a seeker of knowledge. Therefore, I wanted to know, how could I create the life I knew was possible. I started to write down the things that I wanted, and then later on, I saw like how my life was changing based on my thoughts, and based on how I was allowing myself to feel. Like, that doesn't mean I was trying to control my feelings, but I was allowing myself to experience the feeling head on, um, without projecting anything onto others. Not saying that I don't fall short, because I do. However, that question that she proposed a few weeks ago, it just brought me to the years and the writings that led me to where I am now, that led me to begin to connect my past self to who I am present day. And I began to teach mindset. And actually, I was already teaching mindset. I have been teaching mindset for a long time, but I had no idea of that prior to maybe like 10 years ago. I had no idea that's what I was doing until I really started paying attention to how I was moving, how I thought, the things that I wrote down, the people that I was willing to just be around, and my fears on whether I should say things or not. And I'm saying this to say, to propose the question to you as well. If your subconscious created law, would you want to live in the kingdom that you created, or that you created? Because if you would or if you wouldn't, it tells you where you are, or who you are, or where you desire to be, and those are the things that you that would be helpful to you or beneficial to your future self as well as your present. Um, and when I when she was asking that question, when I heard that question from Elite Rose, I was like, damn, that is a great question. It it adds perspective to the fact that we create so much more than we realize. Um, so I was looking at my notes from that day that I saw the video, and I was like, yes, because 5 years ago I was creating where I am now. Therefore, I unlocked something inside of me that I can't go back to. And those experiences and these experiences that are going on right now, they're showing me the kingdom that I have created, and where those that are around me may want me to go back to where I used to be, where I potentially had to perform and I didn't know I was performing. It's like, who are who are we when no one's looking? Like, who am I when no one's looking? Am I always bubbly? No. I'm dancing a whole lot, but I'm not always bubbly. I am calm and very observant. Um, but what am I willing to do to make sure that the people around me don't disrupt that. Do I perform? Do I put on one of the old characters that I potentially had to become so the people around me were comfortable? Do I make my words palatable for their comfort, ensuring that I remain comfortable? So I woke up like yesterday, my honey and I were talking, and I was noticing that I was sad. I was like, damn, well, I don't even know like what's creating the sadness. But I figured out like, oh, okay, I thought something. And then I could have just said it out loud, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep it in my head. But keep it in my head put me in a place of where I was prior to 555 on the clock. It put me in my head where I either created, I continued to stay in where I was, like where I went back, or I created something new. It was an opportunity for a bridge. And I chose not to say anything, which next thing you know, like I'm trying to figure out like, damn, what's happening? I didn't even say anything. I kept it in my head because in my mind I was just like, it's not that big of a deal. Obviously it was. It was an opportunity for me to give someone a choice to choose on who they wanted to be. I had no idea that's what was going on, but I know so often we assume we know what people are thinking. We assume that we know how things will play out. Therefore, taking the people's choices away around us, unknowingly or knowingly, I'm not sure, but I know I didn't know. So I can only speak for myself. But in those moments of assumption, we're creating something that either we think, oh, it's going to work out better if I do it this way, or we take things back to where things were comfortable, or where we created little pockets of confusion based on our fear. It could be fear. I feel like, well, for me, it was like, well, when you've done this before, people say you were judging them, and that wasn't the case. So I kept something to myself. So it made me think about like I never want anybody to think I'm judging them. I'm just not. I am stating the fact based on observation. Should I have said it? Hell yeah. Because in the end, we spent 3 hours talking about something because I had no idea exactly like, excuse me, exactly like what was happening. It was something that could have been a certain way, but was, and it showed me whether I wanted to keep going forward or revert backwards based on past experiences. Based on past experiences, it's like, well, no, it's all good. It was light in my mind, like it's all good. But then me shutting myself down, it wasn't all good. Because that was who I had to be before for the people around me so they could be comfortable. I literally just said a few days ago that I can't be silent. So why would I silence myself? And then, why would I silence myself? Why would I do that? Because why? And other questions that I was writing down yesterday, which was prior to this, I was just like, conflict. This is crazy because I wrote this down yesterday, maybe about 12, based on like just different experiences, me taking a walk and like observing and things like that. Like conflict is a natural part of life. It's a natural part of being in relationship with others? What are we willing to do to ensure we avoid conflict at all costs? And what it showed me was I'm willing to judge myself based on me thinking this. It was an assumption that I shouldn't say anything. And sometimes the people around me may not know like what's going on, and it created, hold on, let me think about what I'm going to say. It gives each one of us a choice on who we're going to show up as, right? And by me judging myself based on past experience, for my honey, for her, it was like she doesn't like conflict at all. And me, I don't mind by a conflict. I'm just like, what? Just say it. What the hell is in your mind? You know? And not because I'm argumentative, but I know it's easier to say it than keep it in your head. But it's like, how would I tell someone that I know it's easier to say it than keep it in my head when I didn't do it? Yeah. But see, just looking at my notes is as a recovering people pleaser, like we all are experiencing opportunities to show up where we're not pleasing anyone. I notice like a lot. I have like I'm bubbly. I'm smiling, and it's like the idea of having to, or when I'm feeling low or I'm not in a smiling mood, some people around me are like, "Wait, like what's going on?" Including myself. It's like, wait a minute, why aren't you smiling? Because you smile a lot. You're typically always, you sometimes always have a smile on your face. And it's like, well, I just didn't feel like smiling. I didn't feel like smiling. And then I started thinking like, is that, like, am I showing them that I have to smile all the time or something to be happy? And it's like, no. I'm just saying this today because I know that if I'm experiencing it, others are as well. Like, there's a collective here. And knowing that your experiences are valid and they lead to a better place. You're creating, because you're creating kingdoms, it helps you understand. The experiences can help you understand your next destination. Smiling all the time could be a performance, whether I knew it or not. And I also can be pretty serious. So last night, I noticed I was in between both worlds where I was like, shit, who am I becoming? And I don't want to be the one the old me that was so serious to the point where I prefer not to be around anybody. Well, I turned into a hermit. Like, I prefer not to be around anybody because of ABCD. Or I feel like I gotta dance and do a jig for everybody because of ABCD. Can you just be? Can you just exist in a space where others are without doing either? Can you? So I'm going to propose the question to you that Elite Rose proposed was, if your subconscious created law, Would you want to live in that kingdom? Yeah. I hope you have a beautiful day. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. Take what resonates.